right, welcome to Masculine Geek number 195. We're doing something different tonight. Normally, we have our live stream paintings on a Tuesday evening or a Rogue Friday, but we've decided to schedule one for the Wednesday broadcast. So here we are. My light is out just because I was sort of enjoying the firelight, but let me turn my light on so I can see what the fuck I'm doing. There we go. How are you doing, Robert?
Not too bad. Not too bad. It's been a busy couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You follow me on Twitter. Well, I'm not talking to you, Vince, but
It's been a while.
Yeah. If you guys are following me on Twitter, I mentioned something about a miniature shop over in Ohio, and even shared a couple of their products in memoriam to two of our fallen from our D&D campaign, the Viking campaign, with Drew as our DM. And what it was not a miniature store, but actually the corporate headquarters for a company called William Britton, or W. Britton, who are the makers of toy soldiers and have been since they were founded in the UK in the late 1800s, about 1893 or so. So anyway, very, very cool. Want to write something up and post it up on the Masculine Geek site. So if you're a member, you'll hopefully see something there. And I'll probably, once that's done, I'll probably share some more pictures over on Twitter and Instagram. So
Cool.
There you go. That's what I've got going on. I hear you've been writing for a MG novella.
Well, I'm finishing up Laser Dicks chapter 10. That's
Awesome.
almost done. And then we have an MG sort of I hesitate to call it red pill, but it could fall under that category. Like sort of a red pill pulp fiction compilation of short stories from TJ, Noble, myself, possibly you, and then Raul Tomasi as well. So we're all working on that. I have a scheduled deadline for everyone to have a rough draft to me by the end of December, no later than December 25th. And then we can run that through, look them over, read them over, make sure they're the proper length, as it were, and then go ahead and send that out to an editor and look for a book cover designer. So look for that. I hesitate to give a real time frame because the universe will always squeeze your nuts.
In
I'm
2023.
In probably in the spring of 2023. We'll give ourselves some time because this is the first time we're doing this. So yeah,
Right.
So a lot of writing projects. I have other things in the works, which is one of the reasons why I'm off Twitter. I occasionally drop in and like a post. I do still keep Twitter groups, DM groups open because that's one of the, between that and Telegram and text messaging, that's how I've been communicating lately, other than being on broadcasts such as this. So I not too much on Twitter except the occasional liking of a post or something. So if I'm ignoring you, you'll get over it. So I do have a bit of a geeking tell and an unboxing. I wanted to, this came up in my Amazon mentions. You know how they give you that you bought this, so we're going to suggest that. Like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. So this is from a company called Citadel Black. I haven't gone to their website yet, but that's neither here nor there. This is what's before us. Oh, there you go. Thank you. So there are four figures. I can't reach over it. So that's perfect. There are four figures here. And the box is kind of cool. It's very no frills. It's very streamlined. There's not much. There's some artwork, but there's not a lot of text and not a lot of bullshit. It's just a brief description, some plugging of their company info, and then that's it. So what do we have here? Take off my glasses so I can read properly. A Colossal Onslaught. So this features 4 highly detailed minis designed for D&D and other tabletop games. Visualize the strength of the creatures with large 50mm bases. Each mini is ready to play and ready to paint. Contents: a rot-fed beholder, a stormweave dragon, a deep sea basilisk or basilisk, no matter however you want to say that, and a death creep lich. So that's right there.
Wow.
Cool. So I bought these a couple weeks ago, but I have not opened the package. I wanted to do that here online. So let's go ahead and do
Cool.
that. Yeah, let's so I can do this without cutting myself. These fucking boxes are always a pain in the ass. I already torn the box. Whoa. So, Opium Tales. You do see Beholder. I'll show them off in detail in a moment. Let me put the box over there. It comes in this blister pack. I'm glad it's not taped shut. I hate when they do that shit. So apparently these are already, they come, the way the resin is made, it comes primed already, and you don't have to put anything together. It's already set up. So yeah, there's the Beholder. He's kind of cool. The basilisk looks like it's kind of wrapped around some rock. These are pretty badass. It'd be interesting. It's neat because there's a little treasure, a little chest and a treasure pile underneath. That's kind of neat. And then we have the dragon.
Nice.
Yeah, like the spines are gonna be fucking like a pain in the ass to paint. Look at that shit.
Oh yeah.
All raised up like little spines. I may start with this one because I like skeletons and shit. This is the lich.
That is cool.
Yeah, they're not bad. I think this was $24.99.
Yeah. Very, very Tomb of Horrors appropriate.
Yeah, right. So let's line these up over here. Or maybe I will do the Beholder. I'm not sure yet. I might do the Beholder. He might be cool to do. I'll have fun painting the treasure, actually. That'd be neat. May even start with that, too. So let's put that there. And as you already know, it's been raining on and off, and I need to spray my finished owlbear with the matte finish outside. I was going to do that this week, but it's been raining all week. But here's the completed owlbear. This cool little eyeball. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
He came out decent.
I said it before. I like the transition into the arms, into the hands, and the claws. So you did a good job on that, Vince.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So, what I do need to do today is finish up this one Zorn. He's in progress, and then his brother Zorn, I may or may not get to.
Right.
And I do want to add some more features to this Hooked Horror.
Cool.
Classic, iconic D&D. Thanks, Chris. Good to see you guys in the chat. And I'm drinking absinthe tonight.
Ah.
Yes. And yeah, so let's get started. What do you plan on working on?
I'm still working on these Klingon ships. I may switch over to a couple of action figures I'm torn apart and am doing some painting and customization on. This is a chest piece from a knight.
Yeah.
And then a female cleric.
Oh, okay.
So
cool. And you what kind of glue do you use to put those together?
These are action figures, so they actually are jointed and will snap back together.
Okay.
Yeah, these are it's like my little dwarven buddy here. that
Oh yeah.
he was all solid black, and then of course I did all the silver highlights and the metallic blues and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So yeah,
Oh,
these
that's
are
cool.
from Four Horsemen Studios from their Mythic Legions collection. So that is what they are.
Cool.
And then you and I had discussed my geek intel earlier, and I had posted pictures of these guys. But
Oh yeah.
these are those William Britton uh, Viking miniatures, 1/30th scale. They are pre-painted, and I bought two of them. One that I thought looked very paladin-esque for a Viking paladin, and then one, despite not being an archer, that I thought looked like a ranger. So I made him. I made one Bolvi and the other one Halfton.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For our fallen
Our fallen comrades, yes.
Yes, because first
fell in
edition
battle.
D&D is deadly, whether you're there to play your character or not.
Much to TJ's consternation.
Yeah.
And there's the website I just threw up in the
okay.
Thing there.
Yeah, they are were a company founded in Britain. For a while, they were owned by Ertl. I think in like the 90s into the 2000s, and then eventually they separated themselves again, and now they're their own little company manufacturing toy soldiers, and they are based in Chillicothe, Ohio, which is the first and third capital of Ohio, I do believe.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure if Red's around, he might actually know that. But anyway, I was there for my youngest son's birthday, and I had just come back from him getting his birthday photos, and saw the name and saw the shop with some really cool historical artwork and stuff, and I'm like, I've never seen that before, and I need to find out more about this. And so I looked up their hours, and then later that evening I drove back just to kind of peer in the window while waiting for a pizza from a local restaurant down there in southern Ohio, and it just looked absolutely amazing. And set something up, and one of the project director or project coordinator, who's one of the bigger mucky mucks there at the company, excuse me, was nice enough to take time out of his Friday to take me on a tour. I spent several hours there, and then went to a business right next door called the History Store, which carries history books, several different history books, a couple of different shelves full of them from time periods that connect with their miniatures. And then they also sell toy soldiers from various manufacturers, not just the Britons, but a company called King Country and a few others. So it was very, very cool. Not a woman in sight. In fact, one of the pictures that they had hanging up between a couple of the bookcases was a poster that was framed. See if I can find that real quick. It was a poster of several different mounted knights, soldiers, even mounted on camels, horses, and whatever. And at the top of the sign, it said, "In every man, there's a small boy who wants to come out and play."
That's right.
And it's like types of British Army, early Britain's cavalry, 1893 to 1944 or 1914 editions. And these are like the glossy types of toy soldiers that you would have seen collected, turn of the century past, not this most recent one. But anyway, the shop itself was filled with glass cases of their product, some of which I did not take pictures of just out of respect because they are products that
And not
have yet
everything
to
not
be
everything needs a fucking photo.
well, and they're products that have yet to be announced. So, out of respect for them taking time out to show me things, I did not want to release any what amounted to corporate secrets.
You spy you.
Yeah, so they were very nice to me, so I tried to be very nice and respectful to them. Um, but
That's cool.
yeah. So it was really really cool. Got to
Sounds like you had
see.
a fun time.
I did. I could have easily have spent a couple more hours there, and but also filling the shop were various period helmets and military jackets and things like that. So it,
Oh, that's cool.
you know, for their corporate headquarters, it was absolutely the type of place that a man would feel very comfortable walking around with a cigar in one hand and a brandy in the other, and
Right.
yeah, so it was very much a masculine geek approved place. I don't think I'm
Nice.
too out of line by saying that.
Yeah,
So
not at all. Oh wow, these figures are cool too, dude.
oh yes,
Fuck, look at that. Abraham Lincoln's there. Robert Gould. Oh, they actually
yes,
they
the 54th Massachusetts. Yes, they do.
Yeah, they've got the actual historic figures for
Yes.
the Iron Brigade. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've got. In fact, they've got. I think
The Aviators.
Pennsylvania Rifleman is one of the ones I've seen in their catalog.
Yeah, let me go back.
And what was really cool for me, in their King and Country line, which is the figures from, French and Indian War and colonial times. TJ would have liked their World War II stuff because one of the sets that they have featured is their Bastogne line, December 44 in Belgium, from their World War II line, and their various miniatures from the 101st Airborne.
Nice.
So, but as I was saying, in their Clash of Empires, like I said, they've got French and Indian War and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they've got infantrymen from George Rogers Clark, Illinois Regiment, which plays into Indiana history. They also, let's see if I can find it. Yes, the Legion of the United States, 1794, led by U.S. General Mad Anthony Wayne. So again, having an Indiana connection because the city of Fort Wayne is named after Mad Anthony Wayne.
Oh,
and
nice.
In relatively recent years, probably the last 10, 20, 30 years, the character of Batman is said to be a descendant of a distant relative of Mad Anthony Wayne. Bruce Wayne yeah, so that was something that they did. But the from the colonial aspect, the connection to George Rogers Clark, and of course Vincennes, Indiana, and Fort Vincennes, and the Mad Anthony Wayne, those have me really, really interested just because of their local connection to me. But one of the other things they had as far as historic figures, and I guess this is exclusive for a place called the History Store, which is the place that was right next door to Britain's corporate headquarters, was a Tecumseh miniature, which was really cool. So
that is cool.
And Prophetstown and the Battle of Tippecanoe and all that stuff is up north of here. So have someone, an acquaintance who family who plays on my youngest son's little league team, and they were talking about all the historic stuff on the East Coast and things to see and things to do, and they were talking about here in Indiana, and it's like there isn't as much stuff, or it's like really, really different. And I'm like, well, that's because when there were colonies on the eastern seaboard of what would become the United States, with cities and towns and little factories and shops and so on and so forth. We were the frontier. We were Indian country. So yes, there are houses and farms in like New York and Massachusetts that are like significantly older than my state is. So that's just one of those things.
That's so true. Show you. Huh. Maybe the goblin skin might be better. We were talking to myself with these paints.
Oh, that's all right.
That's cool. So, and it also sounds like, getting back to the miniatures place, it sounds like you had a really, really good time.
I did. I could have easily
you had a blast.
Spent another hour there. And well, it's like this. When I went next door and before I left, I bought a couple of Napoleonic miniatures, and I bought the two Vikings. The two Napoleonics I bought were a standing and a kneeling 95th rifles at the Battle of Waterloo. Kind of in honor of Sharps rifles, for any of you who have read the Sharps series by Bernard Cornwell.
That's where the word sharpshooter comes from.
Yep. So
shit.
I bought those, and then like the very next day on Saturday before I left town, I'm like, I gotta buy a couple more.
You gotta get more, yeah.
So I went and bought a couple of members of like the Coldstream Guard, so British soldiers. Cool. But I was really, really torn between the Napoleonic and actually the Zulu series.
Really?
Yeah. So any of you who have seen Zulu,
get some
Dawn,
Jungle Fever there going,
or the 1964 Michael Caine classic Zulu about the battle at Rorke's Drift, the British soldiers with the helmets and stuff like that. Very, very, very cool. Yeah, I watched the series with Sean Bean too. One of the few things that Sean Bean played, a character that actually survived being played by Sean Bean. And gosh, I wish that series had a bigger budget, because the battles and stuff sadly looked like the kind of battles you would have in your backyard with like your G.I. Joes or something like that.
Oh man.
Instead of like hundreds and thousands of men, it's 20. 50. It's just,
yeah.
But I mean, there's only so much you could do with the budgets, and obviously they didn't have the CGI to like accentuate that kind of action. So, but anyway, I enjoyed it immensely. So if you guys are into that kind of stuff, check it out, because it's definitely as fandoms go, it's definitely one of the last bastions of masculine hobbies. Because imagine that, women aren't into toy soldiers.
Go figure. Holy shit! Obviously, there's outliers, and we used to call them tomboys.
Yes,
but for the most part, women don't give a flying fuck about toy soldiers.
Yeah, imagine that.
Right?
Just like they don't care for 4-barrel carburetors or a 1970 Firebird. It's just that.
Yeah, exactly. And and I think some of the issue too is not so much the subject matter as it is the way in which we communicate, and how comfortable women feel or don't feel with us communicating a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's like too fucking bad.
Yep. But I tell you what, I'd much rather play around with toy soldiers and research the various regiments and their battle histories and their battle honors and things like that than arguing with spurgy women on Twitter.
Right.
But, man, there are just certain ones that keep popping up into my timeline, and it's all Rob says and Alex's fault. So if either of you two guys are listening, stop talking to those damn women.
Right? Are you guys fucking them? No, then shut up. Shut up. But it's fun. I don't care. Stop talking to them. Have some dignity.
Well, and the thing is, I guess one is like one of those TradCon women or something like that. I don't know. I even think I heard Rollo mention her on his show Sunday. Femme Sapien or Real Femme Sapien. Obviously not someone who's
that tart?
Yeah, I'm like, nothing against her. I don't know.
I don't know
throws
her,
out
but
she throws out weird nebulous questions on the internet, which if her audience is like holding women accountable or something like that, that's fine. But it's almost like she's trying to challenge men, or the way she asks men is almost like shit test kind of questions. And maybe that's not the total of what she does, but it's just what's popping up in my timeline because Alex or Rob are responding to her or whatever. And usually they're very playful. So obviously there's no animosity there with her or
it's all
whatever.
mischievous, yeah.
But it's kind of like some of the stuff I see is like, well, this looks like spurg bait. Why the hell are you guys playing around with this? You know, but so I mean, if it gives them pleasure, you know, whatever. But it's just weird how that whole algorithm thing works as far as, you know, the stuff that pops into my feed that have absolutely nothing to do with toys or gaming or, you know, anything like that. So.
Speaking of minis and what we're doing here, I'm now dry brushing the Zorn with some goblin skin. It's got some light, a little bit of brown in it, so it'd be good to bring out some of the highlights on this.
Mm-hmm.
If I can, without fucking it up.
You know, the nice thing about dry brushing, you can always go back with your base coat if you need to, or if you do a wash, sometimes you can do that in a way that while you're laying in the shadowing in the darkness into the grooves with the wash, you can also tone down the place that you over highlighted or whatever with the dry brushing.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, so far this seems to be okay. I put the little eyeball in too, if you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let's see. On his back is 2 eyeballs. The little slits, the little black slits.
Oh, Blake's in. Hey, Blake. Glad to see you again.
What's up, brother?
Sorry we couldn't have given you a heads up on that. You would have been more than welcome to have to paint it along with the show like you did last time.
I think that was Mark was painting along with us.
I thought Blake was as well, and maybe Chris. Chris, were you painting last time?
I think Chris was. Yeah. Chris and Mark.
Okay.
Or someone similar. Yeah, this is a bit of a last-minute decision on my part. No harm, no foul. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go in and let's see. I'm going to use this size brush. I got to do some highlights in his mouth with a lighter, like a. Let's see. I used the Cambion Crimson for the inside of his maw. I may just use this. That's too pink. I need something a little. Let's see.
Oh, and Chris is painting with us again now.
Okay, cool. This Dragonfire Red may be good for the highlights.
Well, absolutely, Blake. You need to.
Yeah, get back into it. And thanks for the information about the Citadel paints being $21 and $36 on eBay.
Yeah, obviously this is a little bit different doing it this format, but generally speaking, painting, especially if you're by yourself, you know, at home of an evening or whatever, is very, very relaxing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Put on a little music, a
Right.
little something to drink, and
That's it.
just have
Music in
that.
the background, some absinthe. And look, I found for the P3 paints, Privateer Press,
Okay.
gold for the gold at the base of the beholder.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I was hoping I'd have some metallics.
Yeah. Speaking of metallics, what or chromatic, either one. What color do you plan on doing the dragon? Have you?
That's a good question, actually. I've always been partial to red dragons,
Yeah.
red and black,
Mm-hmm.
and I have both colors, obviously.
Right.
I may want a metallic red. I may go out and buy some more. I may do the Citadel paints that Blake was just talking about.
Sounds like a good idea. I've always been partial D&D dragon wise to I mean, because obviously a red dragon is the classic, but I always was rather fond of the blue dragons as far as the evil chromatic dragons go, and then my favorite of the good metallic dragons, the silvers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, silver is cool too. Oh, Blake, you referring to November 22nd? Because October 22nd is past. I forget which one we talked about. I have it on the. I think I have it on the calendar somewhere. Yeah, November's definitely still on. Yeah. This is difficult to get in here with this fucking brush.
Working on my getting base coat down on my Shadow Hawk. For those of you familiar with BattleTech.
Oh yeah. Kind of a.
Also known as a
Affinity for those.
Dulgrim for you anime fans.
You're getting technical on this.
Yeah, I
I
do
like
that.
it. I like it.
I get technical and I have lots of stuff.
Stuff.
It's what I bring to the group.
It's your value.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. As Nick August would say, it's the value you bring.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually working out better than I thought. Okay.
As far as the coloring or how you're trying to paint it or which?
A little of both, actually.
Okay.
I wasn't sure of the highlight color, but it seems to be working out okay. But then also how I'm doing it, trying to get in here without messing up the original, but the
Right.
or the base coat. But it's actually working out nice as far as like bringing some depth to its maw. The maw.
Mm-hmm.
It'll look better once it's done. I'll throw another wash through it.
Right.
I think I put down too much paint. Now there's kind of a waste. I can go in here, throw some down there, maybe put a little down over here. That's right, it's Bob Vince painting.
Mm-hmm.
There's no mistakes, there's just little happy accidents.
Yeah.
Kind of like all your births. That's right, I busted on your mom's. Let's see. There we
go. Yeah. One nice thing, there's very little anyone can say about my mother that I haven't already said about my mother.
You're kind of, well, mine's dead, so I don't care what the fuck you say. It's kind of funny. And then yours is you don't have any great stories. So as far as like, do you have any good memories? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, I mean, she was kooky in her own way, Um, I definitely. It's weird. I had a lot of freedom, but I also had a lot of responsibility. But I mean, part of that comes from being eldest. So
and being a dude.
yeah, so that was kind of a big deal.
Okay.
She's actually just told me the other day that she's thinking about remarrying my my dad, who is not my biological father.
Are you marrying him?
No, both of them are dead. But
Oh, okay.
my father's dead, and so is my dad.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So anyway, she's thinking
Yeah.
about getting remarried, and asked me if I'd attend the wedding and whatever. And it was just weird because she texted me this. She didn't call. She texted. So of course I, as diplomatically as I could, responded to that.
Prof.
And then she called and she talked to me in more details. But she has ideas, as she always does, about what she wants done and how she wants to do it. And I'm kind of like, well, obviously I'm not going to oppose this. I don't care if you get married or not, and I really don't care if my siblings are all on board or not, because it's never been one of those things that the opinions of others swayed me a whole lot one way or another.
Yeah.
But if you want me involved in it in any way, there are certain things that have to be met, as far as
you have conditions.
Yeah, and basically it just has to do with, one, if the guy's going to marry my mom, i.e. wants to join my tribe, then he needs to talk to me about, hey, I want to do this, and at least for the formality of it, because I'm not, it's not like I'm going to say no or piss all over her getting remarried, because let's be honest, if she's married to someone else, then that means she is his problem, not my problem.
Exactly.
So but also it's just some of the other things that she said she wanted to do. I'm like, that is weird hippie dippy crap, and I don't
hippy
do
dippy
weird
bullshit.
Yeah, I don't do that. So I mean, if you want things done, we can either do it this way or we can do it that way, or I'll just be there sitting quietly in the audience during the ceremony and wish you well, and that'll be that, and I'm fine with that too. But it's like, frame is not just something you do with the girls you bring in your life. Frame is something you do with your mom and your sisters as well.
Right?
It's
absolutely,
that's
Yeah.
bottom line. That's I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough, with all the crap guys keep talking about over and over again.
Frame is should be, you live it. It's part of everything that you do, from the it sounds contrite, but as far as the cashier at the Wawa, the local convenience store, to your boss, to your like you're saying, your mother, your sister, your brother, your family members, women you date, friends, everything.
Yeah, it shouldn't be something that's, if it's genuine, it shouldn't be something that's conscious. It should just be something that is.
It just happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So okay, so you're not sure what you're going to do then. It's all based on the conditions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I absolutely love my mom, and but she I can remember I would have been no older than, say, 2 or 3, and she was trying to put me down for a nap. I did not want to go to sleep. We were living in like a townhouse or an apartment that had like 2 floors, and so the bedrooms were upstairs. And so my mother, in her infinite wisdom as a woman of at the age of, say, 21, 22,
Jesus.
decided that she was going to scare her 2 to 3 year old son to get him to go hide in his room and go to bed and take a nap
That's
by
horrible.
putting a sheet over her head and making scary ghost noises
Mm.
and start coming up the stairs. Well, as soon as I saw a ghost coming up the
You grab
stairs,
the baseball bat.
I grabbed blocks and other hard toys because I, by being upstairs, had the strategic advantage of holding the high ground.
That's right. You had
And,
ammo.
and I had ranged weapons. So
That's
I
fucking
proceeded
awesome.
to
To pelt the
rain,
fuck out of her.
yeah, until it went away. And it did. And so I never left upstairs. My mother never came upstairs. Like the first human being I saw was like several hours later when my dad got home from work and came upstairs to have a talk with me. And because, I had no idea, obviously as I got older, I realized, oh yeah, that was mom under the sheet, but I didn't know. And I didn't care at the time. Point was, when it came to fight or flight at that moment, as a 2 or 3 year old child, I chose fight. I had the high ground. I had ranged weapons. I went with it. So that's what I did. And, that pretty much sets the tone for my relationship with my mother ever since.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I've decided to put the gold. This is so much fun. The painting the gold coins under the boulder. That's kind of a good story, though.
yeah.
So, lesson learned there.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Of course, a year or two later, we were still living in the apartment. My mother and father became really good friends with the people next door, and then also one of the other neighbors actually worked at the same company. My dad worked for Wonder Bread, and he worked for Hostess Cake, which were part
Oh,
of the
okay.
same company back
Oh yeah.
in
I
the
did not. I did
60s
not.
and 70s.
I did not know that.
Yes. And yeah, I can tell you some stories about the delivery guys back in the 70s because they did not always make a lot of money. So bread men had loaves of bread that fell off their racks that went to the Hostess Cake guys, and of course, Twinkies and stuff like that went to the bread men. And this stuff went on with like the Pepsi guy or the Coke guy or the milk guy and all kinds of stuff because these were working blue collar men that didn't make a lot of money, not horrible money, but things like that kind of made a dollar stretch a little bit further in the late 60s, early 70s.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, a lot of product trading went on with the
Bartering.
guys. Yeah, which pretty effective means of business. But anyway, so they were really good friends with them. And the one lady had her nephews, I guess they were, over, and they were talking to me about some movies and stuff. And of course, by this time, I had been introduced to Bruce Lee and thought he was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, hell
And
yes.
so they were like showing me some stuff. So I decided to show them some stuff. So I showed them some martial arts moves and proceeded to bloody the nose of one of the kids with
Shit.
single strike punch to the nose. And it's weird because in my mind, even to this day, it's like in slow motion. I'm like kung fu and hit him in the nose. And all of a sudden I see the blood just slow-mo come out the nose and fly out into the air.
Nice.
And I remember thinking, if I'd have known the expression, oh shit, that's what I would have thought. But I thought whatever a 2-year-old, it's like, oh no. And so I proceeded to run away and hide because I knew I was going to get in serious trouble. And eventually my dad tracked me down. And instead of getting in trouble, he just had to talk with me about controlling my body, controlling myself and stuff like that. Because I hadn't done it in anger, and I also didn't intend to hurt the kid.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one of those things that are like valuable lessons that little boys used to get taught about how to control themselves. And so now we have a generation of boys raised by mothers who taught absolutely no control, and then wonder why teenage boys behave badly sometimes. It's like,
Right.
well, there are things we teach our young males that moms just don't know to teach.
And don't know the proper way to do it,
No, not at all.
even if they did know the actual like theoretical application.
Right. Absolutely.
Now it just occurred to me that inside, and there's a little, it's open like a little bit if you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
The chest, there's gold inside that I have to paint. Fuck. I have
Well,
to
that's
use.
cool. Show that again, Vince. I've got you solo. So
Okay. That
inside the chest. is
inside the
gold.
chest is fucking. You can't. It's hard to see. It really is. Like.
Okay.
But yeah, there's. You know. It doesn't. No, maybe. Almost see it.
Wow.
There's pieces of gold inside that fucking chest. That's going to be a challenge. That's going to be fun. I'll do that next. Fuck it. Fuck it. Let's do it. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Shaking paint.
I just got gold on the beholder. Or the Zorn. Okay, so let's switch gears and fix the Zorn real fast. Do-do-do-do-do.
Oh, so you're in the two wife club as well, Blake. My condolences. Although my second wife, although she was very overprotective, she wasn't a bad mother. She just was a mother, and I've noticed, especially with the woman with whom I've made children a little bit later in life, they are very, very protective of those children. Those
You got
those
what?
little,
You got what? 10
those
kids?
eggs are precious.
You got what? 10 kids?
Four that I know, possibly there may be a fifth one out there running around somewhere. I don't know, but four of which I'm certain.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
The best part is I popped the seal on all three of them. They still had their safety seals on when I got.
They're all virgins, huh?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I can't say all the women I've been with have been virgins, but all the ones with whom I've made children with have been virgins. So
that's awesome. I like it.
And despite that, I've still been divorced twice. So take that as
you bastard. Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're virgins when you find them or not. You're still the possibility of getting fucked over is still real.
Yeah. Well, like I told you this a long time ago. I guess it's no big secret, but yeah, had I not gotten number 3 pregnant with son number 4, wife number 2 would probably still be married to me. So
well,
take that for what it's worth.
Silver linings are everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, which by the way, second wife number 2 is the one that's moving in next door. So
yeah, you were saying that. Now, is that finalized?
They signed for the house on Friday.
No, when you say they, who's they?
One of my younger boys who just got out of college still lives with his mom.
Okay.
He actually kind of takes care of her. She's had some health issues in recent years as well.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
Which, but she and I still get along, so it's all good. She just wished I hadn't gotten my paramour pregnant while we were married, so it's not an unreasonable request, I guess. I suppose in the Victorian age, a good gentleman would have made all of his babies with his wife while not impregnating his lover, but I never claimed to be a Victorian gentleman.
Right.
Yeah, so best part is some people think I'm being hyperbolic when I mention that stuff. Not that I do very often, but because for the most part, stuff's no one's business, but it's just us guys here, so no big deal. I certainly don't expect a future employer to be watching this show or,
We're more than a half hour in, so
yeah.
that's the average watch time. Well, we're a very, 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 very small channel.
Yes. I will neither confirm or deny that, Blake. But yes. Hey, I'll tell you what. I wish I knew some of the stuff I knew now during divorce number one. But even not knowing and even being kind of miserable because I wasn't. It was my high school sweetheart and all that kind of crap, and I didn't really want to get divorced, but she was cheating on me and doing all the things. So it was just one of those things, and I was miserable with her anyway. But despite that, I'm like not the papers aren't even signed yet to make the divorce final. And I'm 29 going on 30 and have an 18-year-old girl sharing a bed with me. So
nice.
And that was with me being miserable and not knowing all the things I know now. And,
right.
But yeah, I guess that's one of the reason why I appreciate a lot of the stuff Rollo says, and the fact that he presents the evidence, the research and all that kind of stuff, because it's like having lived what I've lived these 50 plus years, I can look at that and say, yes, okay, that's what the scientific data says. That matches exactly with what my life experience, both good and bad, So, trying to make things work after she betrayed me, worst thing you can do. Absolutely stupid. Never do that. Never, ever do that. But, the old school way was, man's responsible. You make things work. Suffering is just part of being a male. You do what you got to do, etc., etc. And, there may have been a time and place for all that, but not in the 1990s.
Right.
To present, So yeah, that's why Rala is one of the few guys in this sphere or whatever you want to call it that I appreciate what he does and how he does it, especially that he is so scientific about it and analytical and evidence and support and stuff like that, which is kind of I appreciate that, but it cracks me up, listening to him answer the same question week after week after week, and sometimes to the same people. It's like, are you guys not paying attention? Did you not read his book? Did you not watch his show last weekend? It's not that complicated.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, but it's like, it's like Cool Hand Luke with the warden. What we have got here is
a failure to communicate.
Some men you just can't reach. And
it's true. The calamity and the area of the Spurg is real.
Oh yeah, very much.
Spurgs and retards. Oh, speaking of that was sad that Jules Bass died today.
Yeah, it was.
I can't believe I'm actually getting this fucking gold in here fairly effectively.
That's cool.
Yeah.
For those of you curious about my Shadowhawk here, I'm painting him blue and black, basically in Clan Steiner colors, House Steiner colors. So that's my thing. And eventually, I will probably order. There's a couple of different people that produce stickers and things like that for different mechs. So you can put like
House Davion or whatever.
Yeah, House Davion, House Steiner, but also like the various legions, like the 144th Legion or whatever. So which is kind of cool. So that's one of the neat things about it. And also, if you're irritated with Catalyst for how they treated author Blaine Pardo,
I heard about that.
Yeah, there are lots of guys doing 3D printing of mechs, some of which look really nice and really look like the old school designs. Although part of the reason that brought me back to BattleTech under Catalyst is the fact that they were able to bring back these old designs, which were based on the anime shows, and at least look a lot closer to them than they have during like the Apocalypse years and stuff like that, when things were the forbidden or unspoken mechs. When they got rid of all of my favorite mechs because they couldn't get the licensing or they were having issues
you're
with
talking
like
about
Harmony
that.
Gold and stuff. I know Blaine has talked about what happened to several people. I mean, it's all out there if you want to listen, and you could always listen to him talk about it to someone else. But obviously, he writes other things as well, including a series of basically future post-apocalypse. Imagine if all the stuff you saw on Twitter was actually real and the AOCs of the world actually did something about it. And were in charge. I mean, really, really in charge to the point where the Constitution no longer exists.
Yeah, we're on our way there.
Yeah, we're well on our way there. But anyway, he writes a lot of different things and has a lot of other projects coming up in the works. I would not mind having him on as a guest sometime, just to talk about his other stuff and his career, as a writer and stuff like that.
You want to reach out to him on behalf of us? Go right ahead.
I gladly will. Obviously, you and I would need to talk about, hey, what aren't we tied up with before the end of the year? And, when in like, January or February, will we not have either a game or something else going on to maybe do so? But I will gladly reach out to him to see if he would at least be interested in coming on our channel and doing that.
Cool. That'd be kind of awesome, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had other authors that have been guests about different things. Really, kind of all over. I think that's one of the things I like most about what you've started, Vince, and the way things are done, because it's not like it's all manosphere stuff. I hate that damn word. I can't use it without thinking of Aaron serving drinks at that gay bar. But
well, he owns it. I mean,
well, yeah. But speaking of which, how is the compilation? What is going to be the first Laserdisc book? How is that? You've got the final edit on that? Are you still waiting for like cover art, or where is that?
I'm finishing up the last chapter, like the big boss fight.
Okay.
With the Agents of Slope.
Uh-huh.
I'm bringing everything all together. That's a separate book, but the compilation I'm working on with Rollo and you and the guys, that those are going to be short stories, and I think what I'm going to do is give you a little teaser, since everyone is the loyal Masculine Geek followers and that have listened thus far will get the skinny. I think what I'm going to do is do a prelude to the first Laserdisc novella, wherein it tells how Rob, TJ, and I, our characters, met during the Great War.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, so and that'll give a teaser, because I think at the same time, the first Laserdisc novella will be out, so it'll
Mm-hmm.
all kind of run together, which
Right.
is nice. And I may, on top of that, I may put two of my short stories in there. The other one I have, which I ran it, is called just called Genesis, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
give it a more descriptive title so it makes sense. That's the prelude to, or the beginning. It originally was a chapter in Tesla Malone Lightning's Call, and my
Mm-hmm.
editor said this doesn't. It's good, but it doesn't make sense with what you have so far.
Right.
So she said, take it out or use it as a flashback or let it stand alone. So I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? Let me work on a little bit even further and flesh it out, and I'll let it stand alone. So I took it out of the novel,
Mm-hmm.
and I ran it with Nick August Punch Riot magazine, his
Right.
online Punch Riot. So if you were a subscriber to Punch Riot, you've read Genesis. That was my first, before Laserdisc. That was my first contribution. So I may run that again in the compilation, because at that point, by the time the pulp compilation comes out, that will also coincide with the second Tesla Malone novel. I have high hopes that that'll be out by this well before the spring, so it'll make sense to have all that stuff come out together. So hopefully there'll be 3 different literary pieces from me the first of the year,
Oh, very cool.
2023. Yeah.
Damn, no wonder you're busy.
It's and I have other things as well. I'm working on the BDSM erotic novella. Um, I've got another. I got an, I've got another pipe in the pipeline, as it were. Another. In fact, I just posted the one of the texts that are our textual exchange
Uh-huh.
on the private Instagram.
Now, is that one of the projects you're working on with Traditional Taboo?
No, we're no longer working together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That fell apart. To give the too long didn't read version.
Uh-huh.
I mentioned, I pretty much laid out how I was going to comport myself, my writing style in the newsletter, and certain people got butthurt about that.
Okay.
They thought I was being too arrogant, and too like, oh, I'm going to say what I want, and if you don't like it, then you go fuck yourselves, kind of thing. Well, that's not really what I meant, but I was trying to set the tone, and one or two of her followers got butthurt, so she felt that would not be good for her brand.
Gotcha.
So she decided to back out, and that's fine. I have no problem with that.
No.
I mean, it's just sometimes the way it goes. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad, because it does free me up to work on my own projects.
Right.
That are, I will solely benefit myself. And as far as like the newsletter goes, I will still do sort of like that dominant life topic on the Masculine Geek newsletter. In fact, I did shift over some of the people. I let them know from the Dominant Life newsletter, hey, this is not happening. So if you want to come over to Masculine Geek and get some of that information, you're more than welcome. Here's a link. And I got 38 or 40 followers from that. People signing up. So, no harm, no foul, no big deal. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I'm part of being a dominant man, whether in any aspect of your life, we're talking about frame, is, hey, this is who I am. It's like I tell women, there's 2 things I tell all women that come into my world or potentially come into my world. Number 1, I'm not going to marry you. Number 2, we're not going to live together. Everything else is kind of on the table. We'll see what happens. But we're not cohabitating. I can't do that. I've already fucked up several women and myself trying to shoehorn myself into domesticity, and it does not work.
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, whether some people like it or not, some cats are are feral cats. They're not meant to be brought into the house. It's just how it is.
Exactly.
Um, I think Bill Maher had a routine back when he was a comedian, or at least back when maybe he was somewhat funny. That might be a better way of putting it. But anyway, he was talking about, house cats, and it's like, you've had the claws taken out, you've had your balls cut off, and you're sitting there at the window looking outside at a world you can never be a part of again. But hey, you'll live a nice long life for a cat, but is that really living?
Well, that's it. I mean, and it comes down to what others and Rob have said, and even myself with what do you want, and I have always said, you make sure you design your life. A prudent man that's in charge of his emotions and knows what he wants doesn't let it get that far.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't, and that's why I always tell women, this is who I am. I mean, I don't sit there on the first date with a fucking clipboard and go, no, that's not how you do that.
No.
But somewhere within meeting and talking, and sometimes I wait till after fucking her. Sometimes I don't. It depends.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on her personality and how much into her I am, and how much into me she is.
Right.
That may or may not sound fair, but I don't give a shit. That's how I work it. But it is usually very, very quickly that I lay down that law.
Well, some women, if it's one and done, and there's no reason to even have the conversation.
Well, exactly.
You had whatever you had that night. The drink, maybe the dinner, and the fun after, and that's it. There's no reason to call her, and there's no reason for her to call you. That was just
yeah, pretty much. Exactly. You hit the nail on the head with that one. That's very true. It's like there's a body language knowing without saying anything that what you're both there for. And it doesn't need talk. Most guys wind up talking themselves out of sex anyway. So this looks pretty good. The gold. No, I'll hit that with I think a light wash. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see now the treasure inside painted.
Almost. It's a little out of focus, but when you angle it just right, it gets a little bit of a reflection from the light, and you can kind of see it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll try to get a photo of it. I think if I do a photo in daylight, it'll be much better. But I managed to get all the gold. Now, coloring in the back of the chest, the rim, the backboard, and underneath is going to be interesting. We'll see.
Hey, Vince, check this out.
Yeah. Most guys talk themselves out of sex anyways. I'm not on Twitter because number one, Twitter and social media is fundamentally this. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. I don't give a shit anymore because number one, what I say, most guys on a gut level already know, and number two, other guys don't give a shit. Nothing. Let's put it this way: nothing anyone says on Twitter is going to change anything. It's more of a. It's going to make me feel good to tweet that out and have people that in the bubble like it, and I'm going to get my dopamine serotonin hit. To me, I could judiciously parcel out my time and do that. I'm coming to the conclusion that I don't give a shit anymore. So if you want to tweet that out and attribute that to me, Roman, Opium Tail, please go right ahead. I have no problem. But for myself, I'm going to stick to Masculine Geek stuff on Twitter as far as like this broadcast right now is on Twitter. And I'll retweet the games. I'm going to stop in and like your posts. So like I love your painting, Roman. I'll always do that. Retweet you here and there. But as far as like dispensing wisdom, we're all kind of in a bubble. And like I said, nothing we say is going to change anything. It's really there for our therapy indirectly. And you know what? I don't care anymore. So yeah. No, I love your art. And as soon as I get certain things taken care of with my living situation, I don't think I'm going to be here for much longer, so I don't put too much more artwork. Um, but when I do change abodes, I want one more. I want one more season here with my fireplace. I'm going to enjoy that. But when I figure out where I'm going, whether it's renting a house or a larger apartment or townhouse, I'm going to have a complete sit down meditation and say, this is where I want certain pieces of art and I want to purchase more. And yours is on my list. So, oh, no, I get it, Roman. But here's the thing I've got, beach houses are great. Well, not possibly not this year, but almost every year I rent a house on the beach in Ocean City. That's what the Masculine Geek Village by the Seas are. We've already done 2 of those, and I've rented them for myself and several of my girls in the past. But let me tell you, Roman, I've got, for the most part, I mean, I'm making acquaintances and Masculine Geek chat friends now, like Blake and Chris. Love you guys. But as far as Twitter and serious social media, I really made all the friends that I want as far as like physically hanging out, like you guys and Rob and Robert and Red Crusader and Nick August and the rest and Bullrush, Mictobus out here in Pennsylvania. And I can talk to those guys. They're part of Masculine Geek Life membership. I have access to talking to them whenever I want. I've got almost everyone's fucking phone number. I can call them on the phone. The social media is really, to me, it's more grandstanding than anything, and that's fine. I'm kind of shitting on it, but I'm not. I just don't feel like grandstanding anymore, at least as far as Twitter's concerned, and even Instagram, Facebook. I give you a little backstory. I was never into social media until I joined the Lovecraft Ezine crew, run by Mike Davis. If you go to the Lovecraft, I think it's the lovecraftezine.com. A woman I was in a long-term relationship knew I was into H.P. Lovecraft, so she liked to do things for me. And women that are into you will do things for you. So she found these really cool Lovecraft sites that she thought I might be interested in. So I thought, all right, that's cool. Well, I was perusing the Lovecraft e-zine, and Mike Davis was putting out an advertisement, a classified as you were, help wanted, saying he needed audio readers for his short stories for his monthly e-zine that he put out. I'm like, wow, I kind of have a decent voice. I like the sound of my voice. I like hearing the sound of my voice. Why not? Let me try out for that. So I read some of H.P. Lovecraft's work, a few paragraphs from, I forget which one I read. Could have been the Case of Charles Dexter Ward, because that's my favorite. Anyway, I used that as an audition piece, sent that in. He's like, oh, wow, yeah, you got a good voice. Come on board. So I did. And then I became friends with a lot of the artists, a lot of the writers, and with Mike. And he was doing a show similar to kind of like what we're doing here. And he was putting out live stream Call of Cthulhu games. And this was back in 2015, 2016, maybe even longer before that. Like, no, 20. Let's go back as far back as 2012, 13, and 14. I have to go check my notes, my journals. So I was doing the narration. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rom. I was doing the narration and doing the online games, and like, oh well, we post a lot of stuff and we interact on Facebook. I'm like, oh, really? Fuck. Because by this time, you're talking 2011, 12, and 13. Twitter had been up and running for a while. Facebook, obviously. Instagram as well. And I was on none of them. Absolutely none of them. And up to that point, I had just gotten an iPhone through work. So I was a bit of a Luddite when it comes to that kind of shit. So I caved to peer pressure. And I created a Facebook account, Dennis Malone. In fact, I think it's Dennis Malone 13. And Dennis Malone was the character. Originally, the Dennis Malone name came from the character that I ran in Call of Cthulhu games, played with the Lovecraft e-zine. So I'll have to go back and find some of those and post them maybe. So that's where that came from, and then Dennis Malone segued into one of the my main protagonists in my novels. So there's that. But I fundamentally, I mean, it's been slow growth. I had the Masculine Geek Twitter account, and that got banned because I said
make mental asylums great again or something like that.
Make mental. Well, I said that trans equals mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
And then either the algorithm got butthurt or some people got butthurt, and then I was immediately banned. So there was no appeal to that, nothing. That was pretty funny. It's like, all right. So I had a backup account, the Dennis Malone, which is Dennis Malone 1884. 1884 is when Dennis Malone met Tesla, and that's when Tesla came over to the United States in June of 1884. So that's where that number comes from. So Dennis Malone was my backup writing account that I had created for the Lovecraft e-zine and stuff along with the Facebook. I really didn't do too much with it. Yeah, for telling the truth, Roman. Yeah, and that's what I said too. Like, why'd you get banned? I'm like, I fucking told the truth. Apparently, you're not allowed to tell the truth. The truth is a secret, a very secret, hot commodity. So, yeah, and lately it's just been everyone's talking about the same things. And Masculine Geek, I mean, we're kind of not really. I mean, I don't give a shit about power dads and people like there's people talking about being a great dad, and then there's the guys making. I'm not gonna say any names. Then there's other people making fun of the guys talking about being great dads, or retaining your semen, or sunning your balls, or talking to girls, or not talking to girls. I already know what I do with girls. I do it very well. Okay. If I feel the need to expound on that and pontificate on it, I'll either do it in my own newsletter, which you've signed up for, or maybe I'll do my own course or something on Masculine Geek Life, because I have ample experience in BDSM, dominance, and submissive women. But me just, I don't know, just fucking pontificating on Twitter and social media about it, I just don't care. I have other things I'm working on. I have other writing projects. I'm 52 years old. I don't have much time left on this earth. I need to make the best of it. To me, doing this kind of stuff and relaxing and talking with Robert, and we're doing having an interaction with the chat a little bit, and we're painting. This to me is nourishing and enriching to me. That's what I want to do with the remainder of my time on this earth, and I want to continue doing what I do with women, without women, and my writing. That's my motorcycles, my reading, podcasts, the other projects I have going on. That's what I want to do. And fortunately or unfortunately, social media does really play into that. And some people may say, oh, well, what about marketing? And I'll tell you right now, and I've done tests. I've tweeted out things that are related to like this, painting and other podcasts. Like, hey, this is really cool. Check this out. The engagement sucks balls. If I post something about Marcus Aurelius or an interesting little quip or a philosophical saying, it gets retweets and I'm like, you know what? Fuck off. I just don't care. And that goes the same thing with the marketing. Yeah, I could market my book on here. You know how many people are going to fucking buy it? A big fat fucking goose egg zero. That's who. The people that have bought it that have put their money where their mouth is, have already done so and left me a review. It's done. I don't have millions of followers. Hell, we've got what, a little over 1,000? No, thank you. Yeah, there you go. See, you put your money where your mouth is. And even then, most of social media is bots and scams. And it comes back to what I just said. The people, the friends that I've made are solid. Because I will say this: if it wasn't for Twitter, obviously I wouldn't be here now, and I would not know Robert. I would not know Rob and TJ and James and everyone else. So to me, that's a bonus. But what it comes down to is I think I've gotten what I felt I needed out of social media.
Makes sense. I mainly use it so I can keep track of the stuff coming out of Japan, toy-wise.
Exactly.
And talking to some of the guys over there that are collectors,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of cool when I get that some of them are basically around the same age I am, because we all grew up with like the same shows. It's just they were actually watching them the week they aired, and you know, I was watching them sometimes a year or two later when I could acquire a videotape of whatever the show or movie was. But anyway, so that's kind of neat. It's always kind of cool to see them pleasantly surprised,
right,
of an American who
who has an interest in that.
Well, who not only has an interest, but actually has some of the merchandise that either they never were able to get, or they had as a child and mom threw it away when they went off to university or whatever, or is sitting in a box in their parents' attic or whatever.
Right.
And they're like, you know, here's this crazy gaijin who like has all this stuff, and you know, that their polite shock is kind of amusing to me, but that's you know, that's the main reason I'm there. And you know, because Rollo was talking about everybody, you know, on social media, it's their brand. It's not them. It's their brand. And I was
I'm not a fucking brand. I'm Vincent fucking Joseph LaRosa. I'm not a
right,
fucking brand.
exactly. And you know, I would like to think that that's, while yes, I do some things that tie into things I've gotten paid for, either in helping to edit or write a gaming product, or voicing, you know, doing some kind of narration or voice acting for some other product or project. Really, I'm just there posting pictures of geek stuff and talking about geek stuff. So
exactly,
that's kind of who I am. That's you know, not really a brand per se, but me. One of the things I've thought, I was looking at some of the stuff I've got fairly recently that I want to open, and it struck me, you know, what I ought to do one afternoon or evening or something like that. I ought to just turn on YouTube and open up my toy and kind of play with it and talk about it, because
seriously,
because that's one thing. You know, I occasionally do like the pirate radio show thing that, you know, obviously gets deleted because I have to, because otherwise it would cause serious issues, legal and otherwise. But you know, doing something like that, and not being a review of the toy per se, so much as just, you know,
enjoying
hey, I'm a dude. Yeah, just in kind of enjoying the toy. And if anyone decides to watch it, then, you know, I'll talk to them, because it occurs to me, we do more interacting with our audience during the painting show than anything else, because it's impossible to do during a game, and sometimes during.
I tell everyone no interaction during the game. That's just not.
Yeah, and then but sometimes even during our fireside chat, if we have a guest or something else is going on, or TJ's being brief, it's, you know, it's.
That's funny.
Well, yeah, but yeah, we sometimes
true,
don't.
though.
Yeah, we sometimes don't get to acknowledge everybody. Whereas here, it's more like we're just hanging out painting miniatures in our local game store, and you know, Amos comes in, and Blake comes in, and Chris comes in, and whoever comes in, and you know, sit down,
shut up, Amos,
drink a Coke, and talk. So there you go.
Yeah. Have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up. What's up, Amos? You dirty bastard.
Well, of course, he's becoming more and more brand every day. He's a fucking politician, or a wannabe politician.
Fucking sellout.
Yeah.
You politician piece of shit. You can come on if you want. You've got the link, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of other projects, there's been a passion project I've always had in mind to do, or something that was really close to my heart, and I don't expect to make money off it. I just need to do it. At least make one book. I love, and as you did too, and no doubt love as well, I love mall culture, and I grew up in mall culture.
Oh yeah.
And I've told the story of me working out in the Smith machine at the Planet Fitness, where is in the same part of the the mall where the bookstore used to be, where I used to sit and read D&D books. So That alone. And then Sears went defunct. It lay dormant for a while, and now um, Cooper Hospital bought it, and they're turning into a some kind of health wellness clinic and some shit, like a dual level thing, and they're tearing it apart, and it kind of broke my heart. I want to do a retrospective, like a history book on the Morristown Mall that I grew up going to and spent a lot of my formative years being there with both of my parents and with friends, and really being introduced to Dungeons and Dragons through this one bookstore, as far as like really delving into the books. So my girl knew about that, and she's a commercial real estate agent, so she reached out to the company that owns the mall and got me hooked up with one of the vice presidents.
Oh,
and
cool.
He's like, yeah, just let me know when you're ready and I'll get you what you need. I'm like, wow, all right, cool. So I'm gonna head over
Now
there.
you have to do this. You can't
Well, that's why
vacillate or anything. You've got to make this happen.
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons why I hadn't told anyone, and I told her recently, and she just sent me the email, and the guy had reached out to me via email shortly after she sent hers. So now I do have to do this. But yes, you can let that fucker politician.
Yeah, I
Amos
know. I
in.
was just looking at
Wait,
it.
you know what? Let him. He can hear us. Let him. I think he can hear us. Let him suffer for a minute. Fuck that guy. Yeah, fuck that guy. So
where were you when we had party members dying off showboating and stuff?
You son of a bitch.
Taking care of people.
Exactly.
Trying to be a sneaky bastard.
Absolutely. So now you're right. You're right. Now it's up to you, a-hole. But so now I do have to do this project, which is one of the reasons why I did tell her, because I knew she would like act as my support system as far as like getting shit done for me.
You mean a woman you've brought into your life supports your life and lifestyle?
Holy shit! You guys have no idea. Well, you do, Robert.
Yeah, well, yeah, but yeah, I mean,
exactly. I got fucking black all over the base. It's coming out pretty good. It's a bit of getting there.
How you doing, Amos?
What's up, Amos?
Doing good. That's didn't quite see it. What are you painting?
This one I just did I'm starting out in the framework of the chest, and I did the gold pieces that your character would love to pilfer. But it's a beholder.
I was gonna say, yeah, it looks like a beholder.
Yeah, and I was working last time I was working on the base of the Hookar, which I may delve back into next time because it's getting kind of late. As usual, you've come into the party late.
And then I did. And then we crit killed in one of the best.
Oh yeah, with Jeffro. Yeah, that was fucking. And I just retweeted that. See, I'll retweet stuff like I'll still be on Twitter, but I'm not posting stoic. I'm not getting into Twitter feuds. I'm not getting outraged at anything. I mean, if I want to talk,
you're not trying to save the West.
I'm not trying to save the West. I don't care.
Hell, I'm not even trying to save the West.
Right? I know, right? You're just trying to save your own little. That's the thing. There was I forget the name of him. His name something Mansfield or something. He talks about fuck the rest of the world. Worry about your circle of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Circle of empathy is the people that you bring into your world, or you have in your world by default, by blood. You take care of your family. You take care of your immediate friends. You know, I'm worried about you guys and my immediate friends, and that's fucking it. Mm-hmm. I don't care about what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. Am I aware of it? Yes. Is it fucked up? Yes. Do I really care? No, I don't. I can't do anything about that. I can't affect the outcome either way. My vote, my interest, my awareness of it makes not one whit of change to anything that's going to happen over there or anywhere else on the far side of the world, as it were, even in the next fucking town, if you want to be honest about it. So my circle of empathy is what I deal with. And like I said, fortunately or unfortunately, general waste of time, Twitter masturbation is not what I feel like doing anymore. So, and it's look at me. Mm-hmm. You want to do that? Go ahead. I don't care. I'd rather create. Even this is to some extent is creation. So
yeah.
So Amos, what's been going on in your world?
Pretty much down to the wire of everything that we're doing for election season stuff.
Yeah.
Going out just about every day, knocking on doors, talking to people,
Has,
making sure we're hitting goals and stuff. But
has John Cena explained to you that Taiwan is not a country?
Yeah, eat
uh, it was really funny. Was actually I was watching some videos making fun of his Chinese. There's this really random video of him out there where he just starts talking about just got really excited about some ice cream he was having, and he recorded a video of himself talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such bad, like so many like Chinese speakers that are like non-native speakers that are
Fuck you,
talked about his
Tempest, you dick.
Chinese.
I'm gonna interrupt you for a minute, Amos, because I can, because this is my show. So
Yep.
I'm gonna pull that on you, Blake. Not the Moorestown Mall, the Moorestown, Moorstown, Moorestown. That's here in South Jersey. It's nestled in between Mount Laurel and Cherry Hill, Maple Shade area. So yeah. That's the kind of like a Mallrats remix. Well, maybe without the jokes. This is like a serious. I want to reach out to people that have, in the past that sort of have the same level of malls as I do, and they'll sign waivers, but they can share their pictures with me and their stories, and I will print them along with my own. So
many an evening or weekend of sex started off at a mall.
Nice.
Back in the 80s. Well, I mean, there were girls there.
Absolutely. You could just walk up to them and fucking talk to them.
Yeah. I mean,
nice. I know the mall you're talking about, the area a little bit. But go ahead, Amos, get back to talking about.
Yeah, you're talking about knocking on doors.
No.
Not only that.
What was it?
Well, not only that, but you brought some new sneakers. How are your sneakers doing?
Yeah.
You bought some new sneakers. You bought new sneakers just for that.
Yeah, I haven't.
Well, you did, you son of a bitch. You posted.
I did.
Knee pads. New knee pads.
Oh, damn!
Please vote for him. No.
Amos, he sucked 37 dicks in a row. Talk about Mallrats or Clerks.
Yeah, I did. I'll probably take a picture of him on election day. I didn't wear them out. I thought I would be walking a whole lot more, but I can do a little over 100 houses a day.
Oh shit!
But
that's pretty good.
You losing some weight? All that walking and stuff?
Probably in a couple of weeks I'll see a bit of a difference if I keep it going, and just the getting past that initial hump of walking that much.
Yeah.
Like the legs and calves caught up just fine. It was more so the feet.
Mm-hmm.
Your ankles?
No, literally just my heels. Heels, really? And then
you're not getting heel spurs, are you?
No. It's just.
Pardon me.
I think it's purely just the weight that's just back on them. I remember the feeling like when I worked a lot of jobs that I had to stand up for 5, 6, 7 hours a day or something. But this is a bit different because I'm walking around, and I've got since I've got this Apple Watch, I'll use it to track kind of like what I've done for the day.
Okay.
So let's see here. So today, I was standing for 9 hours, working out for 80 minutes. Basically, just when it registers a high heart rate, 10,000 steps, 3.8 miles, which is actually a little lighter than usual. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Yesterday, on really good days, I'm doing 5 or 6 miles of walking, about 15 to 20,000 steps. So.
Holy shit, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, this is the watch is saying. I'm not counting steps, but it's typically just going house to house, knocking on doors, talking to people, or I put a little door hanger thing on their door.
Oh
How's
yeah,
that,
yeah.
how's
Like
that
I was,
going as
I,
far
when I
as
was
the
here
people that
kinda thing.
actually open the door and take the time to listen to you? How's that going?
So statistically, what I do, grassroots activism, like actually talking to the voter,
Mm-hmm.
is considered the most effective campaign tool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's far above mailers, door hangers, sign waving, yard signs, things
Kissing
like that.
babies, shaking hands.
Well,
Super gluing yourself to the road.
Exactly.
yeah. But in terms of like activism,
Mm-hmm.
like actually, having volunteers and people go out. All I do is I go up to them, I say who I'm with, I tell them about it. I said, hey, are you going to be voting for this person? I have basically a whole database of all the voters,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll use that to kind of like ask them, hi, I'm so and so, talking to voters. Is so and so? Is this person home?
Yeah.
And if it's them, it's them. I say, oh, hey, we're just talking to voters. Are you
Mm-hmm.
going to be voting for this person?
If
Oh,
not,
I haven't
why
heard
not?
of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, yes, no, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
And then if it's a yes or an undecided, I'll give them door hanger. Hey, check this out. If it's a no, I say thank you for your time and I move on.
Mm-hmm.
You get a couple of people that are like, get off my property. I don't want to talk to you. I'm not interested.
Really?
Yeah.
People get
I mean,
people get hostile.
Sometimes as soon as you say we're here talking to voters about the election, they're starting to go, no, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
The older generation that believes that you shouldn't talk about
Oh yeah.
who you vote for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you really shouldn't. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah, I don't fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
I would totally slam the door in your face.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably would. Get out of here, you fucker.
But the thing is, I actually have 3 people that I supervise that get paid to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And for what they get paid for it, granted, I still get paid more than them, but even for them, just to do that, getting paid hourly to go do what I do, is a
Mhm.
pretty good deal.
Sounds like it.
They're like, yeah, I just get paid to what? Walk around, talk to people.
Yeah.
I'm not even really having any debates, I'm just kind of spreading the word, really.
Well,
So-
there's something that I know one of the political parties does, and it seems to be very effective. Have you thought about going to any local cemeteries to talk to the dead about voting? Because
Exactly, yes.
that really
seems to
works
work.
out well, especially in Chicago.
That seems to work
So-
for the Democrats fairly well.
So,
I mean, not to put too fine a point on it.
no, I know. It's funny. So,
Yeah, it is.
no, it's
It is funny.
I know. Just what's funnier is when I heard that, for some reason I thought of 2 different things. One was what you were talking about, the Democrats having dead people vote, because in my work, we get to see name of the voter and the age. It's really interesting when you show up to someone's house and it says the voter is 102. And they're not around anymore.
Yeah, right.
Or in my case, since I had access to everything, I looked up my family's names, and my father was still listed as alive, even though he passed in 2013.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't know where they get the data. They had a couple of different things on him, like they'll show likely to support this, unlikely to support that.
Like, I mean, it could conceivably be possible that the data is not, it's erroneous and it's wrong, but it's not through anyone's fault. It's just like they couldn't get the updated data on their data. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's understandable.
Some of these databases just don't get updated properly.
One of the only people I've heard talk about cleaning up the voter rolls and registrations and verifying things is the Libertarian candidate for Secretary of State in the state of Indiana. Out of all three parties running, he's the only one that's even talked about that or doing more to secure elections. For some reason, the Republicans and Democrats in the state just aren't interested in that.
Well, now the Democrats are coming out in it and saying we got to be careful about 24. Excuse me, because Trump might try to steal the election. And I thought, is this really now both sides kind of coming full circle to, multiple times accusing the other side of, rigging the election?
Yeah, they're retarded.
I'm like,
you answered your own question, really.
Yeah.
He's coming out pretty good.
Anyway, you were talking about John Cena. That has turned out good.
John Cena
talking in Mandarin.
Yeah, he speaks barely passable Mandarin. Maybe I'm just too much of a perfectionist.
Well, how hard is it to say $20 is $20 in Mandarin? I mean, that's all John Cena needs to know.
They'll have him talk to Aaron Clary.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's Xi Jinping's bitch, so... Yeah, and I said that, and if you have a problem with it, John Cena, come at me. I don't care.
Come at me, you son of a bitch.
Prove me wrong. Show me the receipts.
Right? Yeah. Fucking cock.
Yeah.
So, in Chinese, it would be 20块是20块.
Next time we have Aaron on, you have to say that.
20块.
20块是20块. It's really weird because we don't...
It sounds like a mouthful of dicks.
So, yeah.
Which is, I guess, is appropriate for what you're saying.
Yeah, not to put too fine a point on it.
Oh, fuck.
Who said we weren't culturally enlightening?
That's right.
I'm just... Well, yeah, it's not a thing you would say, even in Chinese.
Well, it definitely the Vietnamese is easier, oh, me so horny, love you long time. Right? I mean, that's...
You're right, that's it, yeah.
Jesus.
Full Metal Jacket call out to...
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Alright, I gotta fill up on my drink.
Some more absinthe?
I'm gonna do... it'll take me a while because I'm gonna do the actual ritual. Yeah, I'm gonna grab some more. But you have a question, Amos?
I was going to say, have either of you heard of the Dark Souls games?
No, what's that?
I've heard of it.
No.
Never played it.
Are they computer or tabletop?
Computer. So, yeah, really popular, I guess, among some more hardcore gamers. But basically, their games, for some reason, I was listening to music, and I felt like was in one of the games because basically they have these like.
This is computer. It's from Icewind Dale.
They'll have very epic music, and it's just a very, very mentally challenging game because Dark Souls games are renowned for just being incredibly difficult to play. And so it's like it just sounds like with all the music playing.
Oh yeah. I play background.
Like you're constantly going because what happens is you keep going into the boss to fight, and it's just over and over and over again because you keep dying.
Oh yeah. Well, sounds like fun.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right. So you're saying it's kind of like our last D&D game with Drew.
A first edition D&D game is still easier than like a Dark Souls game.
Oh, okay.
Even
with Drew DMing?
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to throw a like a Tarrasque at us or something.
Oh, God, don't give him ideas. God, I hope he's not watching this. I'm surprised he hasn't. I'm surprised
he's gonna like homebrew a small Tarrasque.
Yeah, I am honestly thankful that I think he's only using random encounter tables from like something from like the core books,
right?
And not using like the table from like Fiend Folio or Monster Manual 2 or something like that. because man, we
More challenging?
just some really weird crap, and you know, just yeah, I like sticking to the basic monster manual, because at least then I have half a chance of remembering it, but also like remembering, enough common sense stuff that my character would know as far as fighting it or whether or not we have to fight it. Because there's been a couple of times that we've gotten into fights with things because TJ attacked something before I had a chance to say, hey, why don't I use my speak with animals spell and us not have to fight the bear? And next thing you know, it's like, yeah, well, we're already fighting the bear. The bear is now mad. There's not going to be any chance of me trying to reason with this animal. Now that we've got it enraged and in fight or flight mode. So it's like, yeah, we'll just let it play out and see what happens. But I was telling Vince this, just in case Drew is watching. I don't know that Drew knows exactly how many hit points Rollo's character has, since he would have gone up a little bit since the last time we played. So I am hoping that it's one of those situations where it's like, hey Drew, how much damage did Rollo take last time? Oh, it was like 58 hit points. And Rollo's like, I've got 63 or I've got 61 or something like that. In which case, when I go to start doing like the funereal rites for his character and for TJ's character, I'll be like, oh my God, by blessed Thor, he's still breathing. And there might be a chance that of the two, one of them might still be alive, but I don't know. I mean, it may have been one of those things where Drew's like, yeah, I did like 100 points of damage. There's no way any of you guys have that many hit points, in which case, it's all kind of moot. Obviously, if TJ survived, he would have said something in the game, or would have been like, oh, but he had, I guess, taken so much damage and had not healed up or taking a healing potion or anything between damage.
Well, he wasn't keeping track of his damage.
Yeah, so
enough to say, hey, I'm getting low. I should probably back off and heal myself.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so there's nothing that can be done there. But as I was telling Vince earlier, I'm hoping there might be a shot with Rollo, but like I said, if it's 100 hit points, there's no way any of us would have made it because none of us have that many. But he, as a paladin, would have the chance because he's just got the highest hit die out of any of us from the group. He and TJ did, in theory.
Yeah, I've got like 22 hit points.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think TJ should have started off with 2 d8s for first level, and then a d8 plus his constitution bonus thereafter. I think
so, yeah.
But anyway, God, things have been really good in Drew's game lately. So,
oh, yeah,
Rollo's too. But I mean, obviously, it's been a while since we played that.
In like close to 2 months.
Yeah, and supposedly, at least the last time we played, Rollo was saying that we stopped at a good time because the next session was going to be pretty intensive combat wise. So I have no idea what we're going to be getting into.
I'm glad we have extra help with Lupo and Duncan.
Yeah, definitely.
That's tasty.
Now, which method did you do? Did you do the pour over the sugar cube and all that, or how did you prepare this? Because I know there are a couple of methods for doing it.
Well, there's two. There's I guess Czechoslovakian.
Mm-hmm.
or Yugoslavian or some shit. That's the
Mhm.
fire method where you soak the sugar cube in absinthe and you light it on fire and
Right.
let it slowly caramelize and drip back into the little bit of absinthe you have, and then you add your water.
Right.
The French method, the classic French method, is to also with the slotted absinthe spoon is to place the sugar cube on the spoon, but rather than light that on fire, you don't pour absinthe, you don't soak it in absinthe, you slowly drip cool water on the sugar cube, and it slowly drains through the slotted spoon down into the absinthe, and then the absinthe and water mix, it does something called loushing. It makes a milky white color.
Oh,
This is because this
With the music and that lighting, it looks like you're performing some ceremony.
right. Yeah, there you go. It's my cult. So yeah, it's good stuff. But
Blake, we had a libertarian gubernatorial candidate, Donald Rainwater, who did fairly well here.
Yeah,
Probably one of the highest percentages of any libertarian
36
for a while.
or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, he did really, really well, and we've got a couple of decent candidates for Secretary of State, which is really important because if the Libertarians can get about 10%, which they have every possibility of doing in that race, they actually will have access to some things regarding elections.
I'm guessing some sort of major party status.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
in Minnesota, it's 5%.
Yeah. So, but anyway, and I really like the Fiend Folio. I don't necessarily like all the things in it. I still remember my buddy Mike brought it into our science class. It was Earth Science in like 7th grade, I think, and we're sitting there. And he brought it into class, and he's like, "I just got this new D&D book. You've got to see it. You will not believe these monsters in it." And I'm like, we spent all of class pouring through that, and I'm like, "Oh, I cannot believe these things." And some of them were just really, really, really out there, and some of them were like just really, really weird. But there were a few that I've used periodically. The Flind. The Knoll cousins that use the three-quarter staff that can lock up weapons and stuff like that. So I would occasionally like using them in with a group of Knolls because it would throw the players off, because description wise they would just kind of hear the basics and figure out what it was, and then the next thing you know, the 3-sectional staff's being used, and they would end up having a sword yanked out of their hand. So it was really pretty funny.
I'm doing the brown on the chest now.
Okay.
The treasure chest. Bring this thing to life.
Yeah, and lava kids were weird. Absolutely.
Oh. Robert, you're in Indiana, right?
Yes, I am.
So you guys have a Senate race, too.
Yes.
You're talking about, so Secretary of State Jeffrey Maurer?
Yeah.
Maurer?
And then Siniak for the Senate against the Duke of Spendenberg, incumbent.
You got one for state auditor.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what you went for initially?
Was going to, yeah. So,
and you got fucked over.
Yeah, I mean,
you got fucked over.
One of those. It was kind of a throw you miss a bone moment. make him feel like he's done something.
Oh, yeah,
we
you got
don't-
fucked over.
Because we get shafted everywhere else. So then, but in Minnesota, in order to get on the ballot, you need
Oh, shit.
signatures,
Mhm.
petition signatures.
Uh,
You need 2,000 qualifying signatures in it, and you only have a 2-week period to get them.
oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and
The major parties do not make it easy for anyone else
oh,
to
yeah.
get into the ball.
It's like them telling you to dig a hole and they don't give you a shovel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they what happens is if you want to run for office as a major party, it's $300.
That's not bad.
And yeah, that's really it. That's the difference between that versus, and like the cost of getting 2,000 signatures. So if you did it with volunteers, a lot of people are devoting their time to do this.
Yeah.
You need a lot of really good places to get signatures. On the other hand, if you want to pay someone to do it, for the 2,000 you're paying probably $10,000 to $15,000. If you solely paid people to get your signature, because you would not only want to get the 2,000, but maybe a few hundred more as a buffer, because the Secretary of State could decide I'm going to throw out certain signatures that don't look right, aren't formatted properly, or that doesn't look like a real person's signature.
Not long ago in Indiana, they did. We had someone. In fact, I believe the guy who's our incumbent senator didn't have enough signatures to get on a ballot to run for the Republican slot, but because he's
Republican
the governor's
slot?
man or something, they basically decided, well, he's an exception to the rule or something like that. So there's been a lot of shenanigans here in the state of Indiana. We are dominated by Republicans, but the way they vote, the way they act, and the way they do certain things,
Rhinos.
there's really no difference. So, well, I mean, Young voted for pretty much for every single tax increase or expenditure, like $11 billion, I think is somewhere around where his total is.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
Fucker.
So
Fucking dick.
and then the Republican that we have running for Secretary of State has been fired from the Secretary of State's office in a lower capacity twice now. So yeah.
So he wants to get fired twice and get a promotion?
Yeah, he wants to get a promotion, be put in charge of the office. So that's how it works. So yep.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
Fucking
Big thing we're doing here is, at least for the organization I work for, is trying to like create what they call transformative change through legislation. So one of the big things is like making sure. So there's a huge surplus in Minnesota, like $12 billion budget surplus.
Oh, yeah.
And instead of giving it
in Indiana.
Yeah, and instead of like maybe paying off federal debts, which is very little, or trying to find ways to cut taxes. One I think was he senator, one senator who very kind of a firecracker and isn't taken too seriously in his party, but basically suggested, well, if 12 billion is our surplus and the annual revenue we get through income taxes is about that much, why don't we just abolish the income tax? And immediately shot down. No one considered it.
Everybody lost their shit.
Yeah. But the organization I work for basically wants to do something along those lines. Trying to, it's every year. Both sides do this. Every year, last year our budget was, let's say, 50 billion. So we need to at least be spending 52. And it's like, no, you don't.
Yeah. Yep, we've got a budget surplus here in Indiana. I think it's over 50 cents a gallon we spend in taxes because of the Republican governor and Republican dominated House voted for the largest tax increase in our state's history. And when it came time because of the budget surplus to the talk about either eliminating the excessive gas tax or suspending it or giving I think the way the numbers work, there's like we are so overtaxed that there's enough to give every person in the state of Indiana like $2,000 or something crazy like that.
Jesus Christ.
And because of the surplus. But no, instead of doing that, I think the governor sent us a check for like $100, and then there's some other little thing that they were going to do that basically doesn't amount to anything. But anyway, the whole point of all this is they love having all that money. They tout it as showing their fiscal responsibility, whereas what it is
tax.
the overtaxation of the
people.
Public.
Yeah,
but they don't care about that. And poodles are great dogs, but I still think golden doodles are a little bit better. And I don't know if it's because they're a hybrid or what, but by the time you get into the at least second, if not third generation, it's like all the intelligence of a poodle
slides out their ass.
No, it's like amplified.
Right.
Golden retrievers and poodles are like number 2 and 3 or 3 and 4 of like the smartest dog breeds. They're easily within the top 5. And something about the first generation is a golden doodle is a golden retriever parent and a poodle parent. Well, with those, you never know exactly what you're going to get. They may have a poodle's temperament and a golden retriever's intellect. They may have a golden retriever's kind of personality in laid back ways and a poodle's intellect. You never know how much.
You know what you're going to get.
Yeah, you never know how much poodle they are and how much golden retriever they are. But by the time you have a golden doodle male and female making an offspring, those offsprings tend to be pretty amazing. And I know they're kind of popular as like designer dogs or something like that. But I have one. He is incredibly smart. He was supposed to be my youngest son's dog. The paramour decided that, it would be a good idea for our son to have a dog, teach him responsibility, that, just that would be good for him. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. You get him a dog. I don't mind. So we did. We got from a friend, a very, very respectable breeder who the love and attention she puts into her animals is just amazing. And so we got him, and that puppy just immediately kind of locked onto me and became like my constant companion. And so while he's supposed to be my youngest son's dog, he lives with me and is my dog and sleeps like at the foot of my bed or by me. If not on the bed, on the floor at my side. He's never far from me. He goes absolutely mental whenever I am away, like on a Sunday when I'm spend the entire day out because of work. I come home. He's like jumping 5 feet up in the air. Can't get to me soon enough. And he's just like my best bud. So he cracks me up, makes me laugh. That's cool. Yeah, so I really like him, but supposed to be my kid's dog, but I don't know, he just imprinted on me. Sometimes animals do that, and I don't know if he sensed that I was like top dog around here, and so he just kind of followed my lead, or it was just his personality was compatible. But course, they say sometimes the dogs will take on personality traits of their owners. So he's very smart, somewhat mischievous, likes to test other people, pretty friendly, but I am the one person he constantly listens to the point where I can make certain, like, either snapping my fingers or certain noises, and he responds certain ways. Not quite like Brad Pitt's dog in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or whatever, but
Oh yeah,
you know,
you whistling.
he wasn't necessarily bred to rip somebody's balls off. You know, he's supposed to be a family dog.
You should totally train him to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that way, if I have somebody like canvassing the neighborhood trying to support a politician or get
some
them in
dude trying to
office,
get his steps in with new sneakers
or something, I can just stick him on him.
With his new fucking sneakers, with his kids.
Yeah, and who knows? He might like eating Asian, so
that's
of course
right.
he'll be hungry an hour later.
Fucking talk about dumplings. Oh,
aren't you glad you showed up tonight, Amos?
I swear, I'm telling people the door knocking stuff is like my least favorite part of my job.
Yeah.
It's because it's not the only part of my job. It's not. I'm not knocking on doors all year. Part of what we do is like essentially we're essentially lobbying. So like my job is to cultivate like a grassroots community of people.
Be a shit stain.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
I'm fucking with you. Yeah. So you're like you're building shit up from the foundation. Really, is what you're doing.
I'm building a group of people that believe in what we do, that volunteer for us, and I have resources to like cultivate that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
hey Blake, I've got buddies that work at Cummins, engineers and the like. So I actually, in my youth, did some work down there, installing a petroleum storage tank at that facility back in one of the facilities down in Columbus in the late 80s, early 90s. So, so I'm familiar with that.
That's cool.
But that's cool that you lived there for 7 years. When was that? In those 7 years, in the 80s, and so what are you going to do once election season that's over? Is it not going to be over for you? Are you just going to shift over and be doing different things, Amos? Or
so my job is primarily what'll be happening after the election.
Mm-hmm.
Building up like a community of people, doing events, building connections, and then when certain issues come up, I would have people, like a group to sort of pluck from, volunteers, people that could do part-time work to sort of help us, knocking on doors, talking to people, or doing events that talk about something we're really like trying to push for. Like I guess, with changing certain laws, cutting back spending in the government.
It's a good idea.
I know. It's a good,
it's an uphill battle, but
it's a great. Hey,
Meemaw Pelosi needs her vodka. Meemaw likes her vodka, so you're not gonna take that money away from her.
And also, I think a big one, just in general, is what they call educational freedom. So, school choice type stuff.
Oh yeah.
You mean a parent's tax dollars don't automatically get taken by the state and go to the school? It actually goes to the school the parents send their children to. What a novel concept.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Although that's really seemed to be catching some traction in the last few years. I think the shutting down of society, which included the schools by the teacher union, has kind of bit them on the butt a little bit. And of course, the family-friendly drag shows, the libraries doesn't seem to help much either. But that's a whole other kettle of fish.
Exactly. All right, people. It is that time.
I don't know. Are we done?
Well,
I'm
if it
not
was,
done yet, Vince.
I know, right? Well, if it was Friday, we could continue on, but it's not. It is a school night. Speaking of school, it is a school night. 6 o'clock will come early. So I'm already fucking tired. It's been a long fucking week. I've got people out because they're fucking sick. So.
Oh, of course they are.
Oh, fucking.
You work sick.
Yeah, I do. Dude's is sick and his fucking kid's got pink eye. So everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us. As always, it's a pleasure to interact. We do, like, as Robert pointed out earlier, we interact more with the chat on these shows, which I do want to start doing more of. I like these.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, these are relaxing. There's more engagement. It's easier to talk and do something with your hands. I don't know. To me, it's a lot easier to actually have a decent talk this way. And then people come and go as they want to. As you know, Amos came in, late, but he was here.
Yeah.
Even though he was given the link hours ago. Let's see, 8:30, if I'm not mistaken. You fucker. Shit. So I don't think we'll be having any rogue broadcasts this weekend, and then this upcoming next Wednesday, we should be playing Rollo's campaign and getting back into that. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll have more of these painting sessions, I think, on the regular Wednesday broadcast. Some guests scheduled for mid to late November and December. And we'll also have more painting scheduled on, I think, Tuesdays and or Thursdays. I think Blake has our schedule. He's got our November and December painting schedule for us. So we'll have to we'll make sure we touch base with Blake.
And we might have some miniature related guests in the future. So
correct.
At least after the start of the year, maybe. So tune in for that.
Exactly. Also, I think what I want to do with these too, guys, Blake, who goes by Love Review on YouTube, and Chris, if you guys want to actually paint with us, as in join the stream as guests here and there, and you don't mind, you obviously can do what we do. You don't show your face. You just hear your voice, unless you don't want to do that. That's fine.
I'm literally showing my face.
Yeah, I know, and you're like a high profile politician.
Yeah, right.
Well, you're not painting anything unless you're doing a tubing below the camera frame or something.
Right? Yeah. He's not wearing any pants. Robert and I are wearing pants.
Yes.
But you don't know what we have on our heads. We could be wearing fezzes for all you know. However, having said that, if anyone who wants to paint and join, reach out to me. I'd say Twitter, but I don't really fucking care. You can. I mean, like I said, I still have the Twitter DM groups and stuff. So I would reach out to me there. I'm going to get a contact page up on masculinegeek.life. You can try that. Or you can just drop in the comments of this show later and say, hey, next time you guys have your show, let me know. And I'll send you the private link. We'll just exchange emails. So there you go. All right. Robert, where can everyone find you?
Robert Kuzlin on Instagram and Twitter, and also here with the Masculine Geek and on the Masculine Geek website. So, where I hope to have an article sometime in the next few days. So,
yeah, look forward
if I can get the time, to sit down and write the bloody thing.
It really comes down to discipline.
Yeah,
I found, and that's another reason why I've given up for the most part social media interaction. Not entirely, but for the most part, it's like I'm I'm curating my creation reality, as it were, and I'm finding I'm being more productive. Who knows? Maybe someday later I'll come back to it and enforce. But for now, it's just masculine geek stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, all right. So you're gonna have an article on masculine geek life soon. Cool. I look forward to reading that. And oh yeah, and we have a Masculine Geek Life Fortress Zoom hangout on Halloween, and we may be talking with Brian. It's about 75% in the bag that we'll be talking with Brian and Bowden again.
Oh, cool.
Cryptozoologist and parapsychologist. So yes, an all around spooky dude. And that will
start doing your iodine drops now.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And Amos, you don't want anyone to find you, correct?
No.
Yeah, so fuck you guys.
and how do you say $20 is $20 in Mandarin again?
Yeah, how do you do that? Shout out to Aaron Clary if you're watching. How do you say that?
20
All right, we're gonna somebody pull out a screen. Somebody pull out a video clip of that and send it over to Aaron Clary. All right, everyone. Everyone in the chat, it's been a pleasure as always. Anyone who's watching later, thank you for watching this far as well. And we will see you next Wednesday for Raul Tomasi's AD&D live stream game.